You ever look at your phone, stare at her name, and think, what the hell am I supposed to text her now? Not because you don't have anything to say, but because deep down, you know that one wrong message can kill the vibe, and one right one can make her obsessed with you. And here's the thing. You don't want to come across as needy. You don't want to overthink it. You want to come off as natural, smooth, but still intriguing enough to stand out from every other guy texting her the same recycled stuff. So how do you actually build a real connection through text without trying too hard? Let me tell you a story. A guy I was coaching, let's call him Mike, matched with this stunning woman on a dating app. Their banter was decent. Not amazing, not terrible. But after a few messages, it started fading. She began replying slower, one-word answers, emoji here, emoji there. Classic signs she's losing interest. Mike asked me, what should I say to get her back into it? I told him, you're asking the wrong question. It's not about getting her back into it. It's about creating something real that she doesn't want to drift away from in the first place. And that's exactly where most guys fail. They chase the moment instead of building a rhythm. They drop compliments hoping to get a reaction. They ask basic questions like, how was your day? Thinking that shows care. But in reality, those texts blend in with the noise, and women, especially high-value ones, don't connect with noise. They connect with vibe, with emotion, with presence. So let's strip it down. The truth is, texting isn't about what you say. It's about what she feels when she reads it. A boring message can be made magnetic with the right tone. A flirty text can fall flat if it feels forced. The secret is emotional calibration. And Neil Strauss in The Game hinted at this long before texting even became the battlefield it is today. Back in the pickup days, mystery and curiosity were key. That hasn't changed, only the format has. When you text a woman, what you're really doing is painting a world in her mind. A world where she imagines you, thinks of you, feels your presence even if you're miles away. You want to evoke curiosity, a smile, sometimes even that quiet little that makes her check your profile again, that makes her anticipate your next text. But none of that happens when you text like a fan. So here's the first psychological shift. Stop trying to impress her. Start trying to express something real. Most guys are reactive. She says she likes pizza. Suddenly he's the world's biggest pizza lover. She mentions yoga. He's suddenly stretching on a mat that same afternoon. That doesn't create connection. That creates compliance. And women don't crave compliance, they crave polarity. What if, instead of asking, how was your day, you said, bet you didn't expect to have a moment of mischief at 3 p.m., but here I am. That small shift changes everything. It's playful, it's unexpected. It adds energy instead of draining it. And when she asks what you mean, now you're leading the dance. You're creating a dynamic. That's connection. That's seduction through presence. Texting is a game of energy exchange. And if you bring the right energy, you can guide the entire flow. Let's break it down into principles you can actually use. First, eliminate neutral energy. If your text doesn't add anything to her day, don't send it. Don't text just to check in or keep it alive. That's how it dies. Women connect with energy, emotion, curiosity, tension, fun. A dead text says, I'm bored and need your attention. A powerful text says, I'm in my world, and I'd like to invite you into it. Second, embrace the unexpected. Let me give you an example. Instead of texting, hey, how are you? Try this. I just saw someone who looked exactly like you, but smiled way less. It's a compliment, it's a tease, and it gives her something to play with. Or, serious question. How do you survive Mondays without caffeine, sarcasm, or criminal activity? That kind of message does three things. 1, it stands out. 2, it invites humor. 3, it suggests connection without begging for it. The goal is always the same. Evoke a feeling. That feeling is the hook. The story comes later. Now let's talk timing. One of the most overlooked aspects of building connection through text is timing and pacing. Most men either text too often or wait so long they lose the thread. But the truth is, the pacing should mirror the rhythm of the connection, not your insecurity or need for validation. Text when it feels natural, not when you feel anxious. Respond when you have something to say, not when you feel the pressure to say something. One of my mentors once told me, don't talk just to talk. Talk to amplify. Same goes for texting. Here's something powerful you can do. Mirror her rhythm, but lead the tone. If she replies casually, keep the tone light but elevate the mood. If she replies with depth, go deeper, but always with a sprinkle of charm. Example: she, work was rough today. Most guys would say, sorry to hear that, which is okay but forgettable. Instead say, I vote we escape reality for a second. Quick, beach or mountains? No wrong answer. Now you're taking her attention away from the negative, creating a micro-fantasy, and inviting her to play. These micro moments build real emotional intimacy. Not through information, but through feeling. The best texts don't come from a formula. They come from alignment. From the confidence of knowing that you are enough as you are, that you're not there to prove anything. You're there to connect, tease, explore, and share. And that brings us to perhaps the most important shift. Be the source of the vibe. Don't wait for her to be funny. Don't wait for her to be deep. Don't wait for her to ask questions. Set the tone, set the pace, set the frame. In Rules of the Game, Strauss emphasized identity shaping. If you show up through text as just another guy, that's how she'll treat you. But if you show up as the guy who brings energy, charm, curiosity, and intrigue, that's who you become in her mind. Every text you send is either building that frame or weakening it. Most men underestimate the power of silence. They think every pause means she's losing interest. Every delay in her reply is a signal to re-engage, to fix the vibe. But here's a truth most guys never grasp. Silence, when used right, is seductive. Why? Because it creates space. Space for her to wonder. Space for her to feel. Space for her to miss your presence. If every time she opens her phone, you're always there, there's no tension, no contrast, no edge. You're just background noise. But when your messages are intentional, when you speak to her soul and then disappear for a beat, you become a pattern interrupt in her day. And that's powerful. Remember this: in seduction, presence and absence are both tools. You speak to her emotions with your words, but you ignite desire with your absence. And speaking of emotion, here's something that separates the amateurs from the men who truly connect. Emotional range. Don't just be the funny guy, or the deep guy, or the just checking in guy. Be the man who makes her feel alive through a full spectrum of emotion. Tease her one moment, reflect something meaningful the next. Make her laugh, then pause, then think. That contrast is unforgettable. It sticks. It makes you three-dimensional, not flat. And when a woman feels range in your presence, even through text, she feels safe to open up. Why? Because it signals that you're emotionally fluent, that you're not afraid to feel, that you can guide her through emotional moments without freaking out. And that's magnetic. Here's an example. Let's say she shares something vulnerable. She: honestly, I've had a rough week. Just one thing after another. The average guy will either ignore the depth or try to fix it. But you do this. You say, sounds like the universe threw you into a plot twist. Want to vent, or want me to distract you with a ridiculous story about my worst haircut ever? Now you're giving her two choices, both safe, both connected. One offers emotional depth, the other offers playful escape. Either way, you're leading. That's the real art. Making her feel heard, seen, and light all in one breath. Let's go deeper into something most men never learn. The text that builds connection often has nothing to do with her. What do I mean? When you share something from your world, a story, a moment, a weird observation, you invite her in. And that's when she starts to feel included in your reality, not just like a guest you're trying to impress. Women crave that more than they admit. They don't want a guy who performs for them. They want a guy who lives and then lets them be a part of that. So instead of asking a generic question, try this. Okay, confession. I just saw a guy walk into the cafe wearing flip-flops and a full suit. And now I'm questioning all my life choices. Now you've painted a mental image, triggered her curiosity, and invited her into your day. That's more powerful than asking what she ate for lunch. Another angle most guys miss? Callbacks. This is a pro-level move. If she mentioned something earlier, like her guilty pleasure show, her love for gummy bears, her dream to visit Greece, bring it back days later in a message. Casually. You popped into my head, walked past a gummy bear shop and immediately thought, she'd lose her mind in here. Why does that work? Because it shows memory, presence, attention. And unlike saying, "I've been thinking about you," which can feel heavy too soon, it's playful and specific. That's the key. Light intimacy. Here's another advanced shift. Instead of texting to get something, text to give an experience. Don't think of texting as a tool to get her number, attention, date, or validation. That's low-level thinking. Think of texting as a stage, a space where you perform the energy you bring into her life. That could be playfulness, unpredictability, calm masculinity, depth, mischief. The more emotionally immersive the experience, the deeper the bond. So even if you text less, but each time leaves an imprint, you win. And that's where most texting advice online fails you. It gives you templates, copy-paste lines. Say this to make her laugh. But the truth, it's not about the line, it's about the you behind it. If you don't bring any inner world, if you don't live with curiosity, presence, and purpose, then no text will save you, because your words will feel empty. But when you become a man with a rich inner life, someone who observes, reflects, feels, plays, moves with certainty, your texts naturally become addictive, because you are. That's why everything I'm telling you today isn't just about texting. It's about how you show up in her world, and how you make her feel when you do. Because once you get that right, the words take care of themselves. There's something almost primal about the way we interpret messages. Every beep, every vibration, every bubble popping up on that screen. It's not just a message, it's a signal, a microdose of dopamine, anticipation, curiosity. And here's where it gets interesting. Most guys are playing checkers, while women are playing emotional chess. When you text her, she's not just reading what you say, she's feeling what it means. She's analyzing tone, subtext, confidence, intent. She's asking, is this a man who makes me feel something? Or is he just another guy trying to win me over? And that's why subtlety matters more than you think. In seduction, the loudest messages are often unspoken. You don't need to tell her, "I'm confident," if your texts come with certainty and direction. You don't need to say, "I'm different," if your words feel different. If they hit a note no one else is playing. That's where a powerful technique comes in. Implied depth. Let me explain. Most men overexpose. They share too much too fast. They try to explain themselves, justify their humor, elaborate their thoughts. But the truly attractive men who live in their masculine core, speak with intention, not explanation. They let her fill in the blanks. When you text something like, "I have a theory about you, but I'll save it for later," you're doing three things. 1. Creating mystery. 2. Suggesting you've been thinking about her. 3. Giving her a reason to stay engaged. She doesn't know what your theory is. She might ask. She might wonder. Either way, you've planted a seed in her mind. That's the art of seduction in micro form. Now let's go deeper into what I call emotional pacing. Every woman moves at a different rhythm emotionally. Some crave quick connection. Others want slow burn attraction. Your job, if you want a real bond, is not to rush her pace, but to subtly lead her toward the kind of energy that builds anticipation. Let's say she's shy, reserved, giving you short replies. Most guys either chase harder or give up. But a man with emotional intelligence does something different. He softens the space. Example. She. "Yeah, I've been kinda tired lately." You. "No pressure to reply fast. I'm not going anywhere, but I will send you memes if you don't stop me." Now you've communicated three key things. 1. You're not needy. 2. You respect her space. 3. You're playful enough to keep things light. This is emotional safety, which ironically leads to emotional intimacy. And when she feels safe and unpressured, she opens. Now here's a layer almost no one talks about in the world of dating. Energetic frequency. Every message you send carries an energy. And that energy either lifts her, grounds her, excites her, or drains her. If your texts feel like a man who's rooted in purpose, calm, fun, and curiosity, she feels that. Even through words. Especially through words. Contrast that with messages that reek of anxiety, overeagerness, or second-guessing. Women pick up on that immediately, not always consciously, but they feel it. It's like scent. So before you send anything, ask yourself, what energy am I sending with this message? If it's curiosity, desire, ease, or joy, send it. If it's anxiety, fear, or pressure, pause. Because connection isn't just about words, it's about how your energy lands. And one of the best ways to ground your energy is this. Visualize her already responding well before you hit send. It sounds small, but it changes everything. When you visualize a positive outcome, her smiling, laughing, getting curious, you naturally write from a place of assurance, not need. And that shifts everything in your tone. You write like a man who knows he's valuable. That kind of presence is rare, and women feel it deeply. Another strategy that goes unnoticed by most is contrast building. When you're always witty, always teasing, always joking, your energy becomes predictable. And the human brain craves contrast, surprise, novelty. So throw her off, gently. If you've been teasing her for days, drop in a sincere comment, like, "You've got this calm intensity in the way you write, caught me off guard." That moment of sincerity hits harder because it's rare, unexpected. It tells her, this guy isn't just a performer, he sees me. And when a woman feels seen, connection ignites. Let's shift gears. One of the most potent ways to build emotional depth in texting is to use future projection. Not in a needy, can't wait to take you out way, but in a way that suggests a shared world. Here's an example. You'd 100% argue with me about which wine to get, and I'd pretend to care just to see you try to win. That single sentence does so much. You've invited her into a scene, created shared tension, framed yourself as playful and confident, and embedded the idea of you two together without saying, "Let's hang out." This type of message makes her imagine being with you. That's the power of seduction through suggestion. And suggestion beats declaration every single time. It's the difference between "I like you" and "you're trouble. I can tell." One is a confession. The other is a frame. Remember, women respond more to the frame you set than to the facts you give. Your job isn't to convince her that you're interesting. Your job is to create a reality so emotionally textured, she wants to be part of it. And that doesn't happen by trying too hard. It happens by being the man who sees the deeper game, who plays it slow, confident, intentional, and enjoys every second of it. At the end of the day, texting isn't about saying the perfect thing. It's about showing up with the right energy. It's about being the man who doesn't chase approval, but offers presence. The man who doesn't try to impress, but expresses. The one who doesn't flood her inbox with attention, but leaves a quiet imprint in her mind that lingers longer than any emoji ever could. Because when you learn to text like that, when you learn to lead the emotional rhythm, to speak without over-explaining, to tease with intention, to listen without losing your edge, you stop being just another guy. You become the spark she didn't see coming, the one she thinks about while brushing her teeth at night, the one she checks her phone for during boring meetings, the one she wonders about when there's silence. That's the power of texting with masculine precision. So stop trying to write the perfect line. Start becoming the kind of man whose words carry weight, because his presence already speaks louder than anything he could type. Now, if this message hits something in you, if you're tired of shallow interactions, tired of not knowing what to say, tired of feeling like you have to perform just to get a reply, then maybe this is your signal to go deeper. Because this isn't just about texting. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't chase connection. He creates it. If you felt that, if any part of this resonated with you, then don't keep it to yourself. Leave a comment below and tell me, what's the one texting mistake you now realize you've been making? Or better yet, what's one shift you're ready to apply today? Because the more we share, the more we learn. And this isn't just a video. It's a space for men like you, who are done playing small and ready to connect with intention. So like the video if this brought you value. Subscribe if you want to keep evolving, and share it with that one friend who keeps texting YD and wondering why she ghosts him. Because the world needs more men who speak with purpose, and it starts right here with you.